How much does political interferences undermine the independence of the court in case like this?
No, of course, as I alluded to, in South Sudan, there is no institution
Mm.
that has not been politicized, and not just politicized, but designed and directed in a manner to preserve the president, to protect the president's interest,
Mhm.
and to function at the political behest of Salva Kiir. And so that is the context in which, whether you're talking about the army, whether you're talking about the national security, whether you're talking about the court, whether you're talking about the central bank, or you're talking about the entire businesses, these are simply patrimonial networks in a political marketplace where President Salva Kiir is the one who set the price of goods, and everyone else is the client that comes to purchase that good at whatever price that the president sets there. So it is a seriously political process, but unfortunately, very illiterate political politicization of our country and of its institutions.
Mhm. Going internationally, the government say that it will respect the Geneva Convention and international law. Yet reports mention chemical weapons in March through May and mass detentions and retaliation against civilians. So could this action expose South Sudan's leader to international persecution?
Why would the country want to go as far as talking about respecting international law, let them start with the peace agreement. Let them start at least by respecting what they agreed to voluntarily. And then they can move on to the constitution of the country that is not inconsistent with the peace agreement. And then, of course, they can then extend that to international law, international human rights law, international criminal law, international humanitarian law, all right?
Yeah.
But for us to really think that the international system as we see it at the moment is in a position to force a regime that is bent on destabilizing and tearing apart the peace agreement that it entered into voluntarily, that has done the same thing over in 2013. And it was the same strategy that Salva Kiir used. And it worked for him to cause genocide in Juba. In 2016, it was the same strategy that Salva used to cause the 2016 up to the 2018 civil war that resulted into thousands of death and destruction and despair in the country. And what were the outcome of this from the country and from the region and from the international community? Another peace agreement. It is another mechanism. It is another power sharing. So the international community will only play a supportive role for us as citizens of the country, who must take the stand to say, no, it is not about Riek Machar. I do not necessarily believe with Riek Machar's politics. I have seen the fact that once he's in opposition, he has the interest of the people. When he's in power, there's no difference between him and the Riek. That is not the issue. But as a citizen of the country, he's entitled to the protection of the law. He is entitled to due process. And therefore, it is not about him. It is about our country. It is about the future of that country. And as a result, we, as South Sudanese, must take the lead. And when we take the lead, our neighbors will support us. African Union, IGAD, the UN, and all that will support us. But if we are going to wait for them to take a lead against a state that in international law is presumed to have sovereignty and that is presumed to have the ability to take a decision and prohibit national interference, they are going to issue statements, they are going to issue condemnation, they are going to use communiques, and my relative in the village does not know anything about that communique. What they know is that the reality in the country today is that the country has collapsed, the economy has gone down, institution is already disintegrated, and these misleaders, actually, you can call them leaders, are busy shuffling and fighting for the remnants of bread that they had stolen, and they now finish it over the table. They are fighting under the table for the crumbs that ordinary people used to eat. So we have to take leadership on that, because what is happening in the country now is not about justice. It's a toxic politics. It's a politics of destruction and of displacement. And we cannot then allow this to happen. If you allow it to happen to one person, to another person, tomorrow it will be your turn.
So where does the peace agreement stand, as for your opinion, since this happened? Because the first vice president has been suspended from the position.
I think one thing that we can give credit to Salva for is that Salva Kiir never believed there was an agreement for peace. He certainly believed that there was an agreement that could bring Riek back home, for him to deal with Riek once and for all. And to do that, he needed that agreement, even though he saw it as imposed by the region and by the international community, but it could serve as an instrument and a tool for him to divide the opposition, to dismantle them, to be able to imprison and, where possible, eliminate their leaders, and as a result, use the same peace agreement to concentrate whatever power that was left right into his own hand, so that he is the only embodiment of power in the country. And that part of the agreement, Salva Kiir has implemented it faithfully. But for peace, no. There is no agreement for peace in South Sudan. That never happened. And if it was on paper, it died the day that Riek Machar came to Juba. And all that has been happening from that moment until now is how each of these parties can use this paper to protect themselves, to provide for them, and where possible, to use it as a shield against the international community. It was never for South Sudanese. It was never for peace. And as long as I'm concerned, there is no agreement on peace in South Sudan today.
Dr. Remember Miamingi, thank you so much for the discussion. But now I want to give you a space where you can talk freely without me asking you any question regarding the situation of South Sudan, the justice system and the law, and everything, anything you want to say. I will give you the time to speak as you wish.
No, thank you very much. Speaking to our people as South Sudanese, it is my hope that we will see what is unfolding in the country for what it is. These are a group of politicians. When they are in power, they come together to loot, to kill, to steal, and to destroy. When the size of the cake is becoming smaller, they start kicking each other out of the table. And therefore, they come back to us again. They use our ethnic orientation, they use our religion, they use our region to appeal to our sentiment. The same people that they have killed, destroyed their livelihood, displaced them, and subjected them to extraordinary despair. They come to us and they use us, especially the young people, as a tool as an instrument for them to achieve their political goal in the country. It is time for us as a people to say no. It's time for us to say we are not going to hand over a country to our children. That is only a country in the name. It's a time for us to stand up, fight injustice, fight political exploitation, economic exploitation, irrespective of where it is coming from, irrespective of the tribe, the name, the cultural mark on the face of the individual that represents this insanity. If we don't take our destiny in our hands as South Sudanese, nobody's going to do it. It's unfortunate for us that we are facing this in a world that is engulfed with very serious problems. From Ukraine to the Middle East, the geopolitical tariff, people don't have enough space in their mind and heart for us. But we have to take our issues in our hand and rescue our country, return the power back to us, the people, put in place mechanisms that will give us a country that we can hand over to our children, organize a form of interim administration that is representative of everyone in that country, and place every single individual that have committed a crime against our people, whether Salva or Riek or anybody else, before a fair, transparent, independent process of accountability. Let them answer for their action. But this is not the time for us to allow one criminal trying to prosecute, arrest, and destroy another alleged criminal. We must not be played one against another, so that our destiny is in our hand. We are one people. Let us rescue ourselves, our country, and our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It's been a pleasure to meet.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure talking to you.